Burn my shadow. Burn my shadow away.
Toy House is a Swedish website that was, in their own words, made as a community for collaborative character creation and trading, world building and roleplay. Most people would use the site as a way for them to store all of their original characters along with presenting them and artwork of the characters in a customizable manner. However, supposedly because of a rather confusing interface and coding, one day an art piece would slip through the cracks. This one being from the ZCP member RJ. On the 7th of November 2024, an art piece was uploaded onto Toy House, drawn by MCD, that depicted two family-related Sparklecare Hospital characters having oral sex. This sent the community in a frenzy, and the people involved would immediately go into damage mode to try and find a way to obfuscate and lie about their involvement in the piece, as well as their shared interest within the topic.
MCD moment! Hi guys, we need to talk right now. Hi, the crit community found Evorma porn in my style. Everyone, literally everyone, please attention. Oh god, Sparklecare 9/11 in action, let's fucking go! Good lord, how did they find it? Your Toy House. Fucking what? Yeah, it's the Hawaiian shirts one. He was completely private, what the fuck? Okay, he's deleted immediately. Deep breath. I need to not be involved in this or I'm going to get very mad. You have to lie in a situation like this. There is no I don't like it. Your story won't matter, and if you tell that truth, it puts every other clown in hot water. Not just you and not just M. Even the ones that don't know. At MCD. I'm here. I can't say we're the only ones who know because Kai is also incriminated. He's right, I think. Everyone is kind of in danger right now. These people complain about the tiniest of things, anything they can find to be mad about, honestly. And I can guarantee if they were obsessed enough to find porn on a random clown's toy house, they would start looking into Jay and Amy, as known pro-shippers in the fandom. If they've interacted with him, as I heard they have, he's probably already talked about those two as well. Start asking if they know, if they're involved, if they're the reason Kitty is into this stuff, or maybe Kitty is a pro-shipper too and was lying about no longer speaking with them. Nothing on the internet is private. Nothing. As soon as you upload something, it is out of your hands forever. You use Jay's art as profile pic sometimes, right? And Amy uses an old commission I did. Those are public. People can see those. If they're all competent, it's just going to get worse. Nick, I think you need to take a step back. You said you were trying to, otherwise you would get angry. And you're stressing Kitty out. I can't be the person who lies. Somebody else is gonna have to take over for me if that's the case. Why even upload that though? If your character is private, your images will be public if they aren't set to private. Please don't get mad at Kai, he didn't know. He wouldn't put Kitty in this situation on purpose. Genuinely, I had no idea. What the fuck? Never in my life. It's not your fault, you didn't know, it's okay. Toy House operated kind of weird, I don't blame you for this. Operates. Well, don't try to explain the image at all. Write it off as a mistake or dark joke and just take the hit for it. That is the best you can do. At MCD. Not gonna work. What? Already said this. Okay, you don't need the full story, but it's not far off from what it looks like. But the consequences of all of that are life and death, so before you go sharing it around, please think about what you would be doing. Why would you say that? What do you mean, why would I say that? What else was I supposed to say? I don't like lying. You already said that we just have to find a way to justify it. I think that's the best course. That's our only option right now. No, the hell it is not. Okay, I have an idea, but I fucking hate it. It is lying though. If I say it's entirely me and Kitty isn't into that at all, it's my art, not hers. Don't do that, please don't. That's kind of what I meant by taking the hit. I suggest your story be this. MCD drew it, that's true. You didn't have any idea of its existence on Toy House, that's also true. Kai has removed it and it won't be shown again, that's true as well. You don't have to say anything about why it exists, only that it's been taken care of and both parties have been spoken to. But that demonizes both Kai and MCD and makes me look like an innocent victim being taken advantage of by people close to me. I told them Kitty is in therapy to find better coping mechanisms. And I cannot in my right mind do that to some of the people I love most. I said more than that, but that's the gist of it. MCD. Nick, if you're gonna be a dick to me, I'm gonna keep ignoring your messages.
On March 10th, 2025, a document was released onto the internet discussing the misconduct of Kittycorn. This document focused primarily on art Kittycorn had been making of their comics characters indulging in incest. This is despite Kittycorn having made their public view on the topic very clear that they did not condone it, nor the people who produced it. The document would also highlight instances of Kittycorn encouraging people around them to keep up the lie that they were against this topic, as well as showing Kittycorn affiliating themselves with other people who engaged in the same fetish. The document would also highlight an active effort in trying to insert the topic of incest into canonical material of the Sparklecare comic, purposely obfuscated so the audience may not know that the fetish was going on behind the scenes. The document was allegedly hastily put together, as the main source of the document, MCD, was pulling out of the document's creation and was informing Kittycorn about what was going on. This supposedly led to the document being rushed out to make sure MCD and Kittycorn couldn't take action before the document came out. Despite the rushed nature of the document, it still managed to expose Kittycorn for their alleged wrongdoings, and while the document was imperfect, it served as a rallying cry for people who had their own stories about Kittycorn, and they came out in droves to share these stories and experiences. This would later go on to become a supposedly more researched Google document written by unaffiliated concerned people and would culminate in over 1,500 screenshots, all detailing multiple stories of abuse, predation, and harassment. Some of these stories would come from, but weren't limited to, 4 individuals: Imani, Wolf, Fink, and Maddie, who all 4 started out as fans of Kittycorn, but eventually become close to them, crossing from fans to relationships. Imani would become Kittycorn's friend with benefits, Wolf would end up in an intimate relationship with Kittycorn, and Fink would become a close personal friend. Common among these 3 in particular was Kittycorn divulging their fetish for incest to the 3, starting out as announcing it as a coping mechanism to later celebrating it. Kittycorn would ask them not to divulge this fetish to anyone else, once again threatening with suicide if it ever came out. Despite this, Kittycorn would publicly show this interest in their comic, but in a way so that only people in the know would be able to see the taboo going on. This is something we'll get back to later. Imani and Wolf were also directly involved in the creation of Kittycorn's comics, but this is also something we'll be getting back to later. Maddie would confess their affection for Kittycorn, and Kittycorn would not immediately put them down, instead telling them, "I'm really flattered by that. I think I would like to keep talking and get to know you better first though. I mean, we have been talking more lately. You're really sweet. Like I said, I think we should still just get closer first, you know? This isn't a rejection, I hope you understand." And while one might expect this to end up as yet another relationship, this one didn't end up like that. And instead, Kittycorn would talk friendly and caringly with Maddie, while telling others that Maddie made them uncomfortable and made unwanted advances. This would lead to Maddie and Imani's close friendship being ruined. Another element that would be brought up, besides Kittycorn's habit of befriending and ultimately ending up in romantic or sexual relationship with their following, was their inability to keep adult imagery and concepts out of spaces they knew their young audience occupied. In fact, it could be argued it seemed like Kittycorn enjoyed putting these things right in front of the audience's eyes, but in a way so that the audience wouldn't understand the sexual undertones of what was going on. Kittycorn has been very upfront about the majority of their audience consisting of minors. As mentioned before, one of the reasons for the reboot was partially because they wanted to ensure that it was okay for the minors within the community to read it. Despite this, Kittycorn would state that even though the comic didn't feature any pornographic imagery, it was still a comic with adult and not safe for work themes. In fact, Kittycorn would repeatedly for years repeat how, while they weren't opposed to adult fan art being drawn for the comic, to at least keep it unproblematic and sober, as these were characters they had strong feelings about due to them relating directly to their supposed traumatic experiences in the hospital. They would even openly claim that people who were into shipping family-related characters were, quote, fucked up and should not come anywhere near them.
Are there any characters that can't/shouldn't be shipped with each other, besides Cuddles x anyone except Death? Hey, this is fucking obvious, but if you ship Mood x Doom, you're fucked up. Don't come anywhere near me, really. Any family members together. Hemera x J is really uncomfortable too, simply because of the dynamic they have. Hemera is like a caregiver for Jay. I can't think of any others that make me super uncomfortable. At least for characters that have appeared stuff that has happened in the story so far. There's a few others that I just can't talk about yet.
They would even include as much on the site's official FAQ page, establishing their boundaries as the comic's creator.
What kind of fan art is allowed? I can't stop anyone from drawing, creating, or writing anything, obviously. But it would be nice if you didn't draw anything problematic or immoral and horrible. Thanks so much for asking. It means a lot when people actually care about what I am comfortable with.
However, a lot of the sexual talks Kittycorn would have within the ZCP would end up bleeding over into small details of the comic that the average reader would not pick up on. A character would become dizzy when being aroused due to the character apparently having 4 penises, so the blood would completely vanish from the head of said character.
Because he has 4 dicks, it takes so much blood that it makes him lightheaded, and if it's happened too fast, he literally faints. I have to admit something, 2 seconds. Oh my god, they're literally the one tweet. I'm so sorry.
Another character in the comic has a mysterious disease, and it turns out the disease is the body producing an abnormally big amount of semen.
She has a disorder that is called hyperejection, HEJ. That means her body creates a lot of cum to an abnormal level. I have to emphasize this is not a hyper thing. I know that word makes it sound like hyper, but it's literally the medical usage of the term. Actual fetish hyper freaks me out super bad. If she doesn't, get it out, she will come in her sleep, and it makes a really embarrassing annoying mess when it's fucking orange. Oh, the bed sheets. Ah, you put that together.
The same character apparently obsessively masturbates to deal with the medical condition and had a different character help them with it.
When Uni was blind and depressed, Carrie had to take care of her for everything and stuff, but Carrie couldn't ever let Uni be by herself, but Uni had to do her treatment thing, so Carrie had to be there whenever she was jacking off, and one day she just offered to help. And they just started doing that regularly. Uni was a mess over it, obviously. Oh my god? I don't know if that's funny or tragic. To be honest, it's a little cute. The situation was sad, but hey, it made Uni feel better. She couldn't exactly do a lot else, so...
The character in the comic would say this character aided the sick patient, and the normal audience would think it was just a normal medical condition, while people in the know would know it was sexual in nature. This way, Kittycorn could indulge in this fetish right under the noses of their audience. There's another example of the character Athlai having obvious rope burns on their hands, which one would think would come from something innocent. But according to Kittycorn, the rope burns are there because Athlai's semen is so scorching hot it burns their hands.
Sly, how did you get those rope burns? Hides hands. Don't be fucking rude. Because cum in antifreeze is so hot if it touches your skin it can burn them. The term rope burns kind of became an insult, like saying someone has rope burns ended up just meaning calling someone pathetic unrelated to the actual act, generally based around the fact having visible rope burns on your hands is a little bit embarrassing.
This is something the former ZCP members were very upset about, as they were unaware that these sexual aspects were made canon and shown publicly.
Rope burns have apparently existed for a long time, and I was absolutely disgusted when I found out they became public. I genuinely thought they were just a private inside joke type thing. Oh, don't worry, Kitty made the rope burns decision all on her own, and multiple other clowns DM'd me saying, "You couldn't have stopped this?" And I said, I didn't fucking know she was going to do this. I'm so fucking sorry.
This particular tidbit was even included in a segment of the comic's official Wikipedia entry that stated that Sly's race, the Nefarious, had, since cave drawings were a thing, covered themselves in their own semen for warmth and stored any excess in jars.
The truth revealed. Cave paintings were also analyzed to identify depictions of rope burns on the hands of nefarious, also proving sexuality to exist in their species. Origins of heat retainment. Forgive me for being such a prude trying to describe this. It's unknown exactly when and where the first instance of heat retainment occurred and why. Fairies and Farron fairies notably did not have genitals in the way nefarious did, or at least there's no proof of them in their remains. The development of them is a bit of a mystery. Idiots think that gave Farron fairies an evolutionary update that include the genitals. It's not entirely known why they look quite the way they do, but the purpose and function is clear. There are different types of genitals for the purpose of social connection within survival. If every nefarious possessed the ability to produce calificient, they could survive entirely by themselves and not in groups, which was what made their ancestors more territorial and scarce. Having one that sort of needed the other to have heat created and made sense to give them reason to group together. But there wasn't much incentive to do this, so that's where evolution stepped in and gave them an incentive. It was pleasurable to retain heat. However, it ultimately didn't matter who you retained heat with, regardless of parts, because it felt good to make those parts touch and have them touched. This was the social advantage. It gave nefarious even more reason to stick together. Historically, nefarious did not have sexualities and were technically all bisexual in nature. It didn't matter who they retained heat with, it felt good no matter what. Sexual and romantic orientation did not exist until far later, and romance did not exist in general back then either. Romantic love as we know now only became a concept in the 3000s with Amy Monarch's teachings in the pink watercolor, but that didn't mean there weren't any deep emotional bonds between nefarious. It just wasn't the same. Social life. I can't avoid this any longer. Sorry in advance. Oh god. Aside from engaging in califaction, the nefarious survived the harshly cold temperatures of their environment by extracting calificient from their bodies, you know what that means, which they would coat themselves in to stay warm, storing it in jars for later use, thus helping each other and forming trust between the pack. Those who helped the most were therefore considered to be the leaders, since they were essential to keeping the pack alive. This is so weird, I'm so sorry. Cave paintings depicting nefarious with red markings on their hands likely represented rope burns. These depictions tended to show them in important roles, which is what suggests their level of respect and importance, a stark in contrast to what rope burns means to us in modern times. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd want somebody with rope burned hands to be my leader, quite the opposite.
This was even included on the comics lore page as early as 2022.
History and evolution. Nefarious are creations of and Tears. They evolved from nefarious, which evolved from fairies. Fairies were thick-furred beasts that walked on 4 legs. They were very large and had long fur to survive the cold weather of Spinch's third major ice age. After the end of that ice age, fairies evolved into a smaller size and became known as nefarious. Their bodies shrank because they didn't need to stay warm anymore. However, when another ice age hit in response to another eruption from Goda Mountain, nefarious had to find a way to survive, and they began engaging in heat retainment, also referred to as califaction. Diet. Nefarious don't eat meat, even though they are technically omnivores. It's just considered unnecessary to them unless the situation is dire and they'll starve if they don't eat a fairy. They prefer to eat things made from orb products or plants. Veganism on Spinch is the preference of not consuming orb produce for food or other purposes. Heat retainment. Heat retainment is Nefarious sex. The term heat retainment refers to the actual generation of heat between two Nefarious, but the scientific name for the fact itself is calefaction, which means the state of becoming warm. During the age of Nefarious, its purpose was to generate body heat so they could stay alive, but as that ice age ended, their need to do that also faded and the ability became vestigial. Evolution didn't phase it out simply because Nefarious just liked doing it. Because of their history with cold weather, Nefarious also have a natural body response of feeling aroused in response to colder temperatures. The holiday Christmas has origins that are rooted in heat retainment, but the meaning has changed over time to be a wider range of love and affection.
While Kittycorn would also publicly claim to be opposed to pairings with large age gaps, they would, behind the scenes in a different server, state how they loved the age gap pairing between the sibling characters Sly and Kem, who are respectively 18 and 13 years old.
Do you have a boyfriend IRL, or do you call Scrap that just cause? Also, isn't he significantly younger than you? This is an absolutely insane ask to send somebody, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Your blog being totally empty also makes it obvious this was something I know wasn't sent in good faith. Wouldn't it be weird as hell if I made Scrap my age, 23, and Eve was still 16? That would be extremely disturbing and upsetting. Scrap is actually 18 because I didn't want my self-insert's boyfriend to be a minor. I felt really uncomfortable about that. Also, 16 and 18 is not a bad age gap. They're even in the same grade, and Eve is about to turn 17. And I would never date an actual 18-year-old, for the record. These are OCs I made for comfort, and Scrap and Eve need to be close in age to avoid making their relationship weird or problematic. There are so many other things going on in the world to be concerned about. Me innocently calling my blue furry OC who isn't a minor or even a real human being my boyfriend is not a world-ending problem. Kem inventing the most advanced gadgets on Spinch for the sole reason for watching Sly Jagged. They know what they're about. I respect it. Kem's autism interest is spying on the #1 jog. Secret Canon Kem is so crazy. They're so funny. Using their invention for evil. Up to no good.
Within this same Discord, they would create a chart that would show all the different family members' relationship with one another in the comic Cometcare, that was made as an alternative universe to Sparklecare Hospital, where the main premise was the inhabitants of the hospital escaped and established families. A fan would later clean up this chart and it would look like this.
Okay, I did my best. If there's any mistakes, they aren't mistakes, because they're canon now. Pin this. Sly has so many bitches.
Here, it would be obvious that a lot of these different family members were in incestual relationships, even parents and children, such as Uni, 59, and Norma, 16, or Doom, 63, and Cream, 15. Apparently, Kittycorn is opposed to age gap relationships only as long as it's not also an incestual relationship.
Sparklecare. Also, why is age gap ships only allowed with family / Gen Q? Is this just a personal preference? Yes.
Kittycorn would put out a list of things that would never be allowed in neither Sparklecare Hospital nor Cometcare, such as incest, sexual assault, and pedophilia.
The following things will never be depicted in the comic: racism, homophobia / transphobia or any form of gender / sexual identity based bigotry, sexual assault or sexual violence, incest, CSA or pedophilia, bestiality or sexualizing feral animals, slurs, explicit NSFW or graphic nudity, showing parts. However, sex is depicted in a non-graphic way. These things will never be depicted in the comic in any way. This will not change.
Yet, when incest inevitably went into these comics and Kittycorn got called out for it, they'd instead double down and say,
I thought there was never going to be incest and other stuff in the comics. Well, there wasn't, but this isn't the other comics, now is it? This is an entirely different blog, AU, and project.
Which is in stark contrast to them saying that none of their comics would ever have any of the stuff featured on the prior list.
Will Star's Rats contain anything that will not be presented in the main comic? AKA something on the list of things that will never be depicted in the comic, on the content warning master list? No. None of my comics or stories will ever depict any of those things. However, there are some things that aren't going to be in the main comic just because of subject matter. Specialized content warning settings will be included for this story with its different subjects.
In fact, Kittycorn would actively admit that a lot of the incest of Cometcare was foundational to the entire comic, and they hated to cut it out just to make it public friendly.
That's why authentic canon is better. It literally is. There's so much foundational shit that I was forced to cut out to make public friendly, it fucking sucked. As you can see just from FC so far, Cometcare was fucking nothing. It's so awesome to see even just a little of the true canon. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it.
A lot of lore and established things that was tied to the incestual aspect of Kittycorn's other works even made it into the canon of the public content of Cometcare. But due to the nature of the incestual foundation being hidden from the audience, they'd be none the wiser, and would draw fan art and write fanfiction about the characters. One such example is this piece here by the artist Orion, who would depict the family members Sly and Eve in a tender moment, only to discover later that the two family-related characters they had been drawing were in a sexual relationship.
I'm no longer a fan of Sparklecare or any affiliation. I'll keep my art up though, I'm disgusted in Kittycorn.
Meanwhile, a large portion of the ZCP members would claim to be blindsided by Kittycorn's interests and how they snuck these taboo concepts into the comic. In fact, Kittycorn would state in the ZCP group that projecting fetishes onto their characters was bad, and referred to their list of bad things not to include in the comic.
Honestly, aside from the obvious ones, they're all fine since you're my friends as long as you aren't drawing projected fetish art or anything. I've had problems where people project fetish onto my characters and it makes me really uncomfortable. They're too personal to me for me to be comfortable with that.
Kittycorn would also go to great lengths in obscuring their interest in incest from partners and friends, and whenever others would start to question them about these interests, they would supposedly default to their former trauma as a reason for it. And while one could take them at their word for this, it does become a little curious that they'd at the same time admit that if they make something, then it'll include incest in some capacity.
A Kittycorn story would not be complete without incest. It's like an angel without wings. Incest toys. It's literally the icing on the cake. The beautiful. Some say it has to do with a new thing called kindred. I have the Midas touch, except everything I touch turns into incest. And it's beautiful. I heart incest, the Kittycorn brand, now with incest.
Looking at this, it becomes evident that Kittycorn had two sides. One was presenting themselves as a person who was opposed to problematic content within their work, while the other side actively celebrated it and indulged in it through their art. By portraying themselves as the pure person with no problematic interest outwards, they were able to convince their audience that their community was a safe space. However, once they were drawn into this space, Kittycorn would start becoming close with these members. In their own words, they had a habit of getting too close to their fanbase.
I don't even care if they are happy I'm gone. I had nothing left on that website and the pain and stress was not worth it. Again, I'm being super serious. No more updates on anything, and for your sakes, I would also stop engaging with the fandom. I'm sure most creators out there stay the fuck away from their fanbase. Kittycorn playing toys forever. I was too close, that was my mistake. I always was. I agree, though you could have never known at 15. I just was posting my comic for my friends on Tumblr. Getting fan art for the first time was crazy. I don't know, it's a little sad remembering that.
And all too many of these fans would go on to become romantic or sexual partners of Kittycorn, who would supposedly joke that their relationship had gone beyond being parasocial.
Oh, did I tell you guys that every time Kitty and I were affectionate RL, she would ask me after if it was still parasocial of me?
However, one could be persuaded to believe that not even Kittycorn would be prepared for the type of people that they would attract. Based on what has been disclosed prior, it should not come as a surprise, based on Kittycorn's many relationships, that they practice polyamory, and as such has had relationship with multiple people, some of which at the same time. A non-insignificant amount of these have been either fans or former members of the group working on Kittycorn's project, the ZCP. One of these people was Ollie, a former member of the ZCP and an alleged serial child predator. There is a significant amount of evidence of Ollie, using multiple different aliases, talking with minors all the way down to the age of 13 and sending them explicit images and talking about how much they want to be with them, despite multiple times admitting themselves that the ones they were talking to were minors.
With the following posts, you will see the violation of the law by a 21-year-old adult sending obscene material to 2 minors they know to be below the age of 16. You will also see attempts to meet up with the 17-year-old on multiple occasions. This adult attempted sexual and romantic advances onto a 13, 15, and 17-year-old. Each victim's age was already directly made known to the adult prior to the offenses. The legal name and face of the pedophile are known but cannot be shown for legal reasons. The 3 victims are anonymous for personal and legal reasons. Proof of grooming and predation dates back to November 2019 on their Instagram account @dipfilth. Each and every screenshot from Discord has message links to back them, and screenshots are only edited for the purpose of censoring NSFW content and the victim's personal information and names. Confirmation of age to predator. I'm 13. Okay, good. Flops. You'll meet more people your age that are kind to you. So does that mean I only have to wait 5? God, I'm so fucking sorry. I don't really know what to tell you to do. If you're honest, it has repercussions, and if you're not, it does as well. So it's really up to you what you decide to do. You're 17, almost 18. You will be out of the house soon, but your younger siblings won't. God, this is such a fucking conundrum. Yeah, I know. Guess I'm fucked. God, I'm so sorry, I get that too, and I'm like a grown-ass adult. Yeah, why? Literally, you're just vibing. You're working out your emotional situation with Sim and Dip, and they're your fucking comfort. You're literally a minor. Them acknowledging I'm 15, my story had that written on it, and they're an adult. That's so cute, what? You make me so happy, do I make you happy too? Yes, actually. I kinda wait to get messages from you sometimes. Yay, I think about you a lot, holding you and taking you out to do fun stuff at the mall and the park and being there for your first fancy meals and stuff, and like anything you want, sneak dude. We could taste test jelly beans. Jelly beans are so cool. I think about you a lot too. I wish I could carry you around. I wish I could carry you. Sex? No. Like I want to learn everything about you. Aw, just be surrounded by your presence. I don't know. What? Sinner, I love you. I'm so full of love today. Fuck. I love you too. Chicken wing, chickening, hot dog and bologna. Chickening and macaroni. Yes, oh my god, we should call today. Disturbing romantic love messages sent to 13-year-old child and NSFW made by child sent to adult, with the adult already having acknowledged the minor is 13 years old. A few of the NSFW images drawn by sinners sent to minor. I promise I made this for a joke. Please ignore the coochie. Nice dong and nibble. Wait, I can't tell, is that a dog or a hayster? I do too. I feel safe around you. That's why I act like a mushy shit around you. I feel safe as fuck around you. Me too. I know I really should be going for people around my age, but fuck it, who cares? It's only 5 years. I love you so much. Vijay, I feel so bad about it. I really don't want to hurt you. I love you, and I'm happy as long as you are, but I'm not saying it's wrong for you to be upset. I love both you, and you're both very sweet. Okay, sorry, I've been feeling really guilty. You're so sweet, thank you. I want to be a kid again, like I should be, like I feel in my head. Oh, I'm sorry. You're the first person who I've been open to, hearing and trusting, and who fulfills my needs over and over with your genuity and patience and kindness. I don't want to hurt you. I'm not a kid anymore, and Sai needs to understand that, cause she loves you so much and so do I. And she loves you more than anything, and... Do you feel like you have sinned? Do you want to talk about it? A lot. Even right now, talking to you like this, having such a deep emotional bond with you when you're so young, knowing what that person did to you and knowing that I'm perpetuating your pain, whether you know it or not. I don't know, I feel like such a bad person. Groomer admitted to feelings of guilt for grooming the child. Victim 2 wishes to remain anonymous, age 15. My name is Dib Membrane, I'm 15 years old, and I'm the only thing that stands between my teacher and their sanity. Lemao, mood, people stop thinking it's sad, they are so gay. Oh my god, you look like Dib too, you look like me, but skinny and baby. I miss you, come back. This was the first NSFW I drew of the AU, and I think the only of plush sim. It's really good. Yes, Dib has my body type. My face, lol. What? Oh my god, you're so cute! Ah, okay, I found something super-duper-duke. Confirmation of said minor's age, 15, was stated in their Instagram bio at the time. All bird photos are NSFW images made by Dipfilth and sent to the minor. I used to draw actually detailed stuff, thank you. Your anatomy, flawless. Victim 3 wishes to remain anonymous, age 17. Because I want to say I'm in friend gay for you, but like, if you're baby, I will not. Yeah, I'm fine, I'm 17, age. Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not overstepping. Haha, damn, Leon, I'm 17. You're literally a minor. I would say yeah, but I'm 17 and never done drugs or anything illegal cause I'm a pussy. When you move out, things will be scarier, but they'll be easier. It's okay, I didn't start weed till I was 18. You're like 21, right? Yeah. Some of the NSFW images sent and drawn by predators sent to minor. NSFW drawing of minor Sona on a whiteboard. Sexual and romantic messages wanting to meet up. No, sorry, I'm being stupid. No, sometimes you just need reassurance. I'm in love with you. Did you really think I wasn't? This whole time I've been aiming for you so fucking hard. I kind of thought you were over it. What? Are you okay, dude? I'm horny and mad about it. My chest stopped hurting, I'm good. Sorry I spooze, I could just tweet my random thoughts. I don't know why, I'm sorry. Okay, you can go to sleep, Lamau. Wait, is this song? Can we kiss to this song? I'm still really unsure about a relationship and I'm really happy that you're okay with that, at least for now. Yes, of course, genuinely. We don't need commitment to have meaning. Have you ever been kissed? Have I asked this? Sorry, is it okay I ask? Not to harp on it, but last night meant a lot to me and I have to think of those moments and I trust that you don't hate me and that you would tell me if I'm okay with sex. If it's you, it's okay. Keep thinking about you. I don't mind. Please, don't be hard on yourself. It's kinda hard thinking about you like that sort of thing. Every time I say I care you, I mean I love you in the deepest and most profound way possible. I love you more than anything. I understand. If we meet, I'd like to give you that if you want it. It doesn't have to mean anything, but I want the first person to kiss you to be someone who loves you, because you deserve that. Obviously no pressure, and this is entirely hypothetical, but it's what I think about sometimes when you're away. Being the one to make you happy. Sorry, I'm crying. Why? I didn't really plan for it, not directly. Blank just is vibing with blank, and it makes me sad because I can't tell when they are talking to blank by their expression. But blank really supportive of us and offered to drive me out to see you, think some or so. Shit, if I get my shit together. I like you as you are, but I understand. We could just hang out and draw together. Please, you give me so much anxiety. Me? Yeah, wait, no, I meant sex with you. You're not giving me anxiety. New York is lovely, especially upstate. I mean, we could go to the city too. I've been a lot, but we can go to art museum and see a show. But honestly, I'd love for you to be up here. We could go for a drive-in movie or hunt for frogs in the woods. This is so cheesy, but there are so many wildflowers here. I'd love to braid some in your hair. If we meet RL, I'll bring Gecko. You're so high. Please, would you... What are you saying? Rigid friendship bracer. Friendship bracelet? Yes, please. But how? I would mail them to you. Dude, my parents. I got you something. Do you have a P.O. box or address I could mail it to? That's cute, but there's no way in hell you'll be able to mail it to me. Oh, okay. I'll hold on to it in case we ever meet. Hey, where do you live, by the way? I don't know. I think about brushing your hair behind your ear, putting flowers in it and shit. I don't know. I'm really cheesy. Friendship bracelets and matching shit. And like trading clothes and care packages. And overnight Skype calls and custom servers with our own emojis. And like... I don't know, making stories together and like kissing your forehead. I don't know. Sorry, I feel like very shy now. I like to hold you. You can be big or little spoon, but I do be chunky. When the pedophile sent a picture of himself in the bath to a server full of minors. Hahaha, Bathgate. I can still see part of your body though. Also, what the fuck came across your mind to send a dirty bathwater pic in general? I thought it was funny, okay? No? And you literally can see my shoulders, that's it, yes? Bitch, I did not laugh. Haha, cause you thought it was a nude. No, you idiot, it was literally a front view, motherfucker. Do you still have the pic? When you take a pic, Discord saves the pic. That's my wall, you idiot. Oh my god, I'm literally crying. This is the hard truth. There's nothing I can do to change it. Even if Blank encouraged me and said there was nothing wrong. Even if I had been groomed myself, there's literally no excuse. I'm sorry, it was wrong, there's no excuse. Thank you for being honest with me. Yeah, I thought about the fact that I was 17 a lot. Oh my god, off topic. No, I hope he's okay. Also, yeah, I really don't know what to say about that. I was groomed by adults as a teen and didn't know boundaries well until I went to therapy and had my therapist set my shit straight. I feel really horrible about the boundaries I crossed. I'm sorry. But like, do you think by deleting your accounts you can run from this? What you've done to Blank? You make physically sick to my fucking stomach. You chose your victims by seeking out minors who were vulnerable mental states, and children are the perfect targets for your sick desires. You knew Blank was 13 when you tried to establish a sexual relationship with them as a 20-year-old adult. You would encourage them to draw porn of their Sona with you, and spoke and sent sexual images and messages to somebody you knew for a fact is a child. You told a child you were in love with them and nobody would understand, so they mustn't tell anybody. You knew Blank was 15 when you sent them your fetish art. You would force yourself upon them with love messages and begging them to come back, and you coerced them into giving you their NSFW account and to publish it as a minor. It is a federal crime to send obscene material to a child under the age of 16 if the sender knows that the recipient is under the age of 16. 18 USC 1470. You consistently spoke about and sent them your fetish porn art and encouraged them to send it. I was 17 when you used your grooming and manipulation tactics on me. You think I didn't notice how you tried to get my fucking address multiple times to send me plushies? Now that I'm 18, this does not change the fact you have traumatized me and many others. The fact that you're mentally ill will never negate the fact that you are a pedophile. You were 20 when you came on to free minors and intruding upon our lives for a sexual and romantic relationship. You better fucking institutionalize yourself, because I'm going to make sure something happens to you. I know who you are and everything about you. You better stay the hell away from my friends and any fucking minors and just delete all of your apps and stay off. You shouldn't have access to the internet. You are a fucking threat to children and nothing but a filthy fucking pedophile scumbag. Go ahead and bait suicide or blame this on your mental illness. If you truly wish to atone for what you've done, you will institutionalize yourself for the rest of your life. Go to fucking police station and turn yourself in. Blank. Okay, I really have no excuse.
When this came to light, Ollie was kicked from the ZCP, but Kittycorn, for whatever reason, didn't tell the remaining members as to why, and they would only later find out due to the initial call-out document.
I believe I worked with both, but only found out one was a groomer from the dock. Yes, that would be Ollie, I think. Or like, I heard of an Ollie before, but I didn't know they were like the Ollie that made the orange lion. That was definitely a surprise to me. I remember fucking drawing that guy. Yes, the orange lion was named Emmy Denis or something like that, right? He got leaked in the KCSAE. And oh my god, I'm so sorry. He was originally going to be Uni's dead roommate. When Amy was kicked, there was a little in-group contest Kitty held to redesign him. Didn't tell us why. Oh, so that's how Sussy Peggle came about? Don't know what happened about the redesign, but at some point it became Sussy, I believe. Was no explanation given as to why the lion had to be scrapped? Or was it just character belongs to a past ZCP member, we need to redesign them? A lot of Sparklecare's story and characters just depend entirely on some secret kitty related drama I found. The way I found out why we were doing this at all was so stupid, like Kitty put together all the redesigns the crew came up with into one new design, and I was like, I'm a little sad none of my redesign made it in. That's wild. To which Kitty told me it was because mine was more similar to Amy than the others and they didn't want that around anymore. Which, makes sense, but that would have been nice to know. Yeah, it definitely would have. I think omitting that fact was not very good of Kittycorn to do. A lot of ZCP culture was just keeping everybody as in the dark as possible, I fear.
In fact, it would come out that despite the mountain of evidence of Ollie's crimes, Kittycorn was still being friends and chatting with Ollie.
In short, we have a channel in the Other Evil server that Jay and Donnie and Ollie are in that I dedicated to sending my art stuff related to it. It's not graphic ever, obviously, it's just questionable depictions. Long story short, Ollie showed me a screenshot of MCD saying something to him during their breakdown last night, even though I thought things were solved. They sent it before we talked it out, but
in fact, when one of Ollie's supposedly adult partners tried to run defense for them, they would admit that Kittycorn had been made aware by some of the victims about the stuff Ollie was doing, yet chose to ignore them.
As Casey has already confirmed, yes, Ollie and I both have been in contact with Kit. We share art amongst ourselves on Discord and we're both part of a server including Kit and multiple of Kit's friends, although we have both since left the server. They've been in contact probably since 2022? We were both aware that you were asking Kit about him and his involvement with the comic. Kit was not harboring pedophiles by not responding to your messages. It just wasn't anyone's business. His involvement with the comic in a way that reached beyond KC ended when he left the ZCP. They are friends in private, and that has not in any way extended to the fandom. Nobody was made to be in danger by KC and Ollie reconnecting after this call-out. KC had a right to ignore your messages.
As bad as this is, Ollie was far from the only problematic individual Kittycorn would surround himself with. In fact, there are so many that in the interest of this not becoming the sole focus of this video, a severely abbreviated list will be provided of select individuals. But before that, we must discuss the server these people inhabited, Freakycare. While Sparklecare had its own server, along with multiple other servers for the different Kittycorn projects, Freakycare was made to coexist besides the official Sparklecare Discord and was created by the individual Chimera, which we'll discuss later. The server was originally made for Kittycorn to share their art and writing, but it was also a place for certain individuals in the space to discuss their pro-paraphilia rhetoric and stalk, trash talk, and harass individuals they didn't like.
Welcome to Freakycare. This is the beginning of this server. Be nice, don't be a jerk, don't be rude, etc. This is LGBT, kin, profig, and NTC pro-para friendly. If someone says that the topic being discussed makes them uncomfortable, please drop it. Additionally, don't bring up topics just to stir up discourse. If you have an issue with another member, please work out things in DMs, or if it's something actually bad, contact a staff member. If you do not support Kittycorn, leave now. You are not welcome. No discussion of leaks, especially related to Secret Canon, excluding anything that Kittycorn herself has made public. Please respect Kit's privacy.
Kittycorn has explicitly referred to these people as their friends, and there is little doubt that these people are big supporters of Kittycorn as well.
I don't need fans, I need friends. You guys aren't Sparklecare fans, you're just my friends and that's all. Friends with Eve forever and ever. Not everything needs a fan base. A few good friends are better than a million fans. This is it. And I'm so glad to be your friend, Eve. This is exactly the sentiment. I'm so happy to be your friends too. Oh, by the way, can I send you a friend request on here? Sorry, I'm shy. Maybe the real Sparklecare was the friends we made along the way.
These individuals would even go as far as to infiltrate a different server, called the Kittycorn Stories Archive Effort, that was made and run by former fans of Kittycorn to document all of Kittycorn's wrongdoings.
Welcome to Kittycorn Stories Archival Effort, KCSAE. This is the beginning of this server. Hi. Number 1. Important. If you support/ship incest, please leave this server. The entire Sparklecare fandom fell apart because of it. 2. Don't use this server to harass/dox KC or anyone for that matter. 3. Have common sense. Groomers/pedophiles/zoophiles such as Chimera Actions and Woofles, please leave. We don't want you here. 4. Since this is a server for archiving Kittycorn's work, certain topics will pop up, mainly things such as gore, medical malpractice, incest, degradation, bullying, suicide, and all the other 50 content warnings on the Sparklecare website.
This infiltration was actively encouraged by Chimera, who asked the people who got access to report back information so they could keep an eye on things.
By the way, the archive/leak server is being shut down because they found out pro-shippers are in it spying. Oop! Hey! The first few days I checked the SCH tag obsessively and felt so fucking hopeless. I had to blacklist it because my brain was spiraling. I might, Lamau, use Dakaruji to infiltrate again, maybe leak some conversations they have. They will be mad with it. Not saying who sent this to me obviously, but lol. They're just fucking nuking it? Bro, why are they surprised by this? They should have expected it. Apparently there's only 3 channels now.
They would also do this to other Sparklecare fans who were running, quote, vent blogs, and even infiltrate communities run by former Sparklecare fans, all to stir up drama for the fun of it.
Deleting my dumbass spy vent blog I didn't really use in a week, final post on it is telling people to move on. Did a drawing for it and everything. Me looking at Sparklecare versus not looking at it and being free. Also, I'll be doing a new bit and tan design. I got some fresh new ideas for my fave ship kits. Also, all the stuff is censored so it could be a setup from someone, like fake stuff just to stir up some more drama. Yeah, totally. We have a chance to mate our own Goncharo now, Lamau. But I don't know if it's worth to stir even more drama. Yeah, I don't know, but then again, it's been a while and nothing's really toned down, so I think they just kick up a fuss no matter what we do. I think it would be funny to make a post acting like there was a leak, but I think it'd just be like kicking a beehive and embolden them to try and do more stuff. I don't know. I'm tempted though.
There is no doubt that the group has a parasocial relationship to Kittycorn, as they've done everything in their power to protect their name by harassing former members, infiltrating discords, getting posts talking about the situation removed, and even attempting to get YouTube videos taken down.
I reported the video because, doing a video criticizing Kittycorn is fine, but leaking her entire Discord tag is really dangerous, especially for someone who's already under a lot of harassment. 3.13 includes a full Discord account name of someone that the video paints as disgusting, incites harassment against this person. Oh shit, yeah, I might do that too. Definitely gonna do that, because a vid on her is whatever, but this is gonna get her harassed to hell and back if this video is seen by the wider crit community.
Now that we have established the group and what they do, it is time to talk about the people within it. Chimera is accused of, and has in part admitted to, harassing a 15-year-old, creating characters that were based on minors and partaking in incestuous roleplay with a 17-year-old, all while being 22 years old.
Years ago, back in high school, I was into Bravest Warriors and got the art books as a gift. I found a piece of concept art of Danny and really liked it, so I made an OC based on it. I do this kind of thing a lot. Danny is a character that one of my friends kinned, so I gave the OC the name he was going by at the time. That's it. The OC wasn't based on the friends at all. If anything, he was based on Rinri from Full Metal Alchemist, as both are gearheads that makes prosthetic limbs. The only NSFW content I made of this OC was a single ref sheet. I gave the OC to a different friend soon after. As for having a crush on the friend, it was high school and I was in an extremely abusive environment. I could not tell platonic from romantic feelings and got crushes on almost everyone who was consistently nice to me. I even addressed this on Tumblr. I can't find the post because I go through names a lot, so I don't know what I tagged it as, but I clarified that this was the case to the friend. I have no idea why they brought it up again years later. I'm sorry I made you uncomfortable, but I promise my feelings were just platonic mistaken for romantic. The stuff with Shiro, it is not grooming to engage in safe for work pro-ship content with a minor. Pro-ship is not inherently not safe for work. It's the same as any other fictional content like gore or yandere. If it triggers you, just block and move on. Also, fucking leave them alone. He has been harassed by aunties before, and it makes me sick to see y'all doing it again. Let people enjoy fiction in peace.
The harassment of the 15-year-old allegedly got so bad that the 15-year-old would admit to getting a PTSD diagnosis from it, to which Chimera would brag about it openly in the Freaky Care server.
Apparently Glitter Syringe got diagnosed with PTSD. Skill issue. Diagnosed with CPTSD. LOL.
Chimera was apparently so bad that their own sibling would come out, proclaiming how uncomfortable Chimera made them.
My older sibling sexually abused me. It affected me so much. I believe you, as many didn't believe me either. I think it's fucked Casey used her victimhood to negate criticism while being friends with abusers and groomers. It's so fucked, isn't it? And I can't think too much about Chimera without shaking, and it sucks. Because siblings. You knew your older sibling for your literal whole life. So then what? They're just gone because they cut contact with you and you have to act like everything's normal? I grew up so codependent on Chimera, it makes me sick. I couldn't even bring myself to call him out or cut ties myself. I forced myself to wait for him to do it first. Why?
Yet despite all of this, Chimera was still allowed within the Kittycorn circle, and they would even refer to Chimera as the best friend.
I love Scrap so much. He is so cute. I need to read the Comet Care arc with Scrap still. You're allowed to self-ship with him because you're my bestie. You have boyfriend privileges. Permission slip to kiss my boyfriend. Which one, /silly? I just don't like it when total strangers wanna ship with him or how he get away, you don't understand him like me. I understand him so bad. You do. You know his lore.
They have even gone as far as to refer to Chimera as their twin.
You're literally my twin. I wanna go by the name Cupcake now, pup. We are twins, I'm telling you. It was a case of I like cake the best, so naturally he should be the sibling kisser.
In fact, when Chimera would draw an illustration of two sibling characters from Sparklecare along with their fan child for Pride Month, they would claim the paraphilias of the characters as part of the LGBTQ+ community, and even include that one of the characters was a MAP, a minor attracted person.
Clovercare Pride Day 6, The Rats, Flags, Mood, Lesbian, Transfemme, Transage, Kindred, Dior, Kindred, Lesbian, Agosexual, Doom, Kindred, Agender, Demisexual, Masochism, Somnophilia, Age Fluid, Map, Intersex, Bisexual.
When Kittycorn saw this, they would approve of it.
Sniffles, Agender Doom is so special in every way. Your HCS are always so based. Agender Doom is canon. Wow. Doom being agender is so very special to me. I love it. My gender is fluid and sometimes that includes agender.
However, probably the most disturbing thing is that Chimera has also admitted to be working with children, which should unnerve anyone who've seen their behavior amongst minors.
I used to get really bad POCD intrusive thoughts and was really scared of myself because I work with kids, so I really get this. I haven't had them as much lately, but I still get them occasionally.
In fact, while working on the script of this video, Chimera's place of work was found out through a former member of the ZCP. They would reveal that Chimera was working in a food chain as a mascot. Former associates of Chimera would also testify that Chimera had admitted to being naked inside the mascot suit.
This makes me sick now, but I should have ran when he admitted to working at Chuck E. Cheese and being naked inside the Chuck E. suit. We could have got him admitting to being naked under the Chuck E. Cheese suit, which he did admit in there. Don't know how she didn't fucking see that. I think she just didn't process how bad it was, is my guess. We read it too. I know I didn't understand what he meant, but it's still horrific. Again, I need to unlearn accepting these things as normal. This is normal, it's not okay.
The former members of the ZCP would post screenshots of Chimera admitting to this.
I'm not sure if they know though. I might be the only freak in Chucky naked. Me when my manager asks if I'm going into the Chucky suit butt-ass naked and I have to lie and say no.
Wuffles started out as a fan of Sparklecare and has previously been called out for grooming a 15-year-old when they were 18 themselves.
Okay, this one is from his private Twitter and it's plain obvious that the problem is here. He said this about me. Also keep in mind that throughout all these screenshots, I was 15 while he was 18. I want you so bad you have no idea. I need to be molested and or molest someone immediately.
It would seem like they thought this was okay, as they claimed their quote trans age was 12.
Hello, runs in circles. My name is Wuffles. I'm 18, except I'm actually 12, my trans age swag, and I use he/pop/paw pronouns. I've been a fan of Sparklecare since 2023. I've known about it since 2022, but I was too busy experiencing the horrors to read it. My Tumblr is Afterparty, and my YouTube and Twitter are the same name.
Wuffles would explicitly express their interest in wanting to molest this 15-year-old and would create and gift the child with a fursona that they would later draw having sex with their own fursona.
Look at this fursona design Wuffles made me, chat. IRS awesome. Look! You're so sweet, my sweet bunny. I think I'm going insane. Goddamn.
The minor, realizing what was going on was wrong, ended the relationship, which seemingly made Wuffles spiral out of control, making vent art and writing stuff on the walls like "I loved you" with what looks like their own blood.
I think it's fucking over for me.
When Wuffles was caught, they would proceed to self-harm further, send death threats, and act erratically on social media.
You deserve it, lying whore. Nobody's gonna believe you. Just kill yourself already at this rate. You deserve it, you lying cunt. Sorry, I'm getting extremely heated over this, but oh my fucking god, dude. I was not trying to groom him. I didn't even think about grooming him. Most of the shit I said was me playing along with shit he said he liked because I had a crush on him and because I wanted to make him happy. You dead ass just admitted you're a pedophile? Are you fucking stupid?
When Kittycorn found out about Wuffles' crimes, they banned them from the Sparklecare Discord.
Nothing ever goes right for me, ever in my life. What happened? I reblocked from a predator without knowing while reblogging from the tag for the first time in months. I knew if I stuck my hand in I might get bitten, but Jesus Christ, it happened in a completely unexpected way. Who was it I'm gonna block? Did you unreblock at least? I did. Woofle Dog. I remember this fucker. He got into Sparklecare?
However, despite denouncing Wuffles and their actions publicly, Kittycorn is still openly associating with them on the Freaky Cat Discord.
Off topic, this is Kittycorn, methinks. Sorry, this picture is ugly, the flash was on. Me-core, I look like that in my mind's eye. Yes, when they're mean to me. This is who they're being mean to.
Wuffles has multiple times admitted to their interest in minors while knowing they shouldn't have those interests. Yet it has seemed to do remarkably little to deter them in pursuing minors.
I think I just have a preference for people younger than me, which, at this age, that fucking sucks because people are gonna be weird about it. I feel really guilty for having sexual thoughts about you and blank sometimes because I don't want to be considered a fucking pedophile or whatever it is, and I also don't want to be considered a creep. I can't help it, I hate it, but I also don't hate it, I don't know.
They have even admitted to being a zoophile as well.
People with zoos/pedos DNI in their bios have been following me and interacting with me, and I'd feel really shitty if I didn't say something. I am a zoophile and a pedophile. My attractions don't affect the way I treat living things, and I have never once attempted to act on anything. My attractions only really apply to fictional characters and roleplay scenarios. I will never go out of my way to engage in sexual acts with an animal or minor. Please block me instead of arguing with me. You're so epic, Wuffles. You're awesome as well.
People would compile a document warning people not to interact with Wuffles because of this. In response, Wuffles would encourage people within their circle of associates to send real-life gore content to their detractors.
They probably googled it, found the one in Wisconsin, and sent that address. No, hold on. There's so many in this state though? Lucky guess. There's no way it was lucky guess. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not mad at you. I'm like, can I send this guy my self-harm? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Wuffles, you'll be fine. Just stop thinking about this guy and do something else. Suck a fart out of my ass. I promise you, this guy has zero life. I want to send him gore, but that would be evil.
Wolfel's partner Jimmy was also hanging out within the Sparklecare sphere. Here, they would openly and passionately share their paraphilias and fetish art with the rest of the community, chief of which being diaper fetishes and necrophilia.
Oh my god, does anyone remember in the first Kittycorn when he joined and immediately went into the headcanons channel to say Uni is trans age and loves diapers or something? Like all of it. I felt like gouging my eyes out. IBS Uni, yes. I used to be in a mutual server with Jimmy and they admitted that he wanted to fuck a corpse. Well, that's quite lovely, /sarcasm. I don't have evidence of this because I left the server quickly after for several reasons. One of the major things was that there was children in that server engaging in sexual conduct and an extremely explicit thread about how a couple wanted to fuck and then eat their partner's corpse after they died.
They would upload a multitude of images on their DeviantArt of various Sparklecare characters wearing diapers, as well as including various characters topless. When people found their fetish art too much, a member of the ZCP asked them to remove it, but Jimmy would allegedly protest, saying the diaper stuff was purely safe for work.
Hey, on behalf of the rest of the ZCP, could you not put diaper fur art in the main SC tag? Thanks. I'll gladly remove it from the tag, sure, but I would like an explanation as to why. The art is safe for work, as with all my diaper art. I don't really see a problem. You can DM me or send me another ask if you'd like.
This is despite them having publicly expressed their thoughts on sexual age regression and diapers before in the same server.
Thinking noises, sexual age regression plus diapers. Eventually the experiment ends and Kim returns Blair and Sly and wipes their memory of everything that happened beyond the language learning. And all is normal until out of nowhere they're both able to perfectly understand a French sentence and are both really confused as to how it happened. Sorry, my autism demons. Confused. They know French on spinch/silly.
Concerningly, information has come out that would indicate that Jimmy could actually be as young as 14 years old, which not only shows that Jimmy is seemingly lying about their age to get into adult spaces, but as mentioned before, Jimmy is in a relationship with self-admitted pedophile Wolfels, and it is speculated by some that Wolfels has taught Jimmy to lie about their age as to not appear problematic.
Morning, it's your birthday? It's my birthday! Oh my god, happy birthday, birthday boy! I'm now old, 14 years old. I have officially caught up with the rest of the server. Headband? I'm 15, beat that child. Secret agent man. You should not have... Aren't you like 16? Yeah, I just seen horrid things on Google search. This fandom is shockingly horny. I just knew you weren't 15 cause you don't act like a 15-year-old. I don't believe in acting your age, but 15-year-olds really fucking do. Honestly, I respect it. You can smell when someone's 15. You're not 15? I'm 14, turning 15 in March. Oh.
When someone tried to inform the Freakycare server about Jimmy's age, Chimera would immediately shut this down, and the people reporting this were allegedly banned and kicked from the server afterwards.
I got this DM on Tumblr. I don't know if I should try to proceed or just ignore them. Wolfels, you're in a server with him, aren't you? Look, I already know you're gonna post a screenshot, but it's urgent and serious. Do not just report as spam. Okay, will do, done. They will probably keep block evading, but if you report them enough times they'll give up. They did with me. Oh darn. This guy has been relentlessly spamming and harassing Wolfels. Evil people. For real, annoying ass.
As mentioned before, a lot of the Freakycare Discord members would go out of their way to defend Sparklecare and Kittycorn from the alleged slander by the people speaking out about the ongoings of the community. These people and circles are dubbed anti-care. One of the people who went the extra mile with this was JK Tech. JK Tech would allegedly make a plethora of sock puppet accounts and use these to target and harass people speaking up about the server.
You won't be more loved by spreading hate. People will get tired of it and quit. Deleting my comments now, aren't you? Liar. You anti-cares are the first people since many years that I generally hate and wish bad. It's funny how everyone hate anti-something group is always based on lies and sensationalism, and they are so willing to express their hatred. Hope this don't be an anti-care, anti-fur fucking Nazis pipeline, because this group is starting to behave like it. Liars and drama leeches are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But this won't last long, gladly. And this insanity will stop. Most of the shit people say is fake and should just shove up that place and go do something else instead of lying for internet clout.
Yet, as quick as they were to create these sock puppet accounts, they were just as quick in deleting them afterwards. They would allegedly go around to every post they could find discussing the matters and insist on it all being fictional and fake.
Make children be raped so you can take down furry porn? And better you don't even try to do shit, trust me. I think JK Tech is thriving off the attention because he never was shown love or friendship as a child. That or... You think you can lie about me and just walk away and block me, silencing the truth as ever, aren't you? Kids suffer because shitty people like you that waste FBI's resources in fucking furry porn. You want to hurt innocents by dropping the blood of more innocents. You are sadistic and evil. Also, California don't give a fuck about furry porn. The most they will do is say you should shut the fuck up and get a job.
Their magnum opus in this regard was a document they would make in the hopes of debunking all the claims made against the community. However, people were quick to point out that the document was rather lacking, consisting mostly, if not entirely, of opinions, anecdotes, and conjecture.
Proof of innocence, plain text, version 0.8. Proof of Casey's innocence. This document will reveal flaws on the document used to defame Casey and her friends, with the goal of proving their innocence. Things to consider. Screenshots can be faked, so only verifiable evidence are valid. Someone enjoying a type of fictional content does not mean they enjoy the closest real-life counterparts. Actually, it's not the case most of the time. For example, who likes feral content have a little chance to enjoy. See, parts 1. Accused people, 1.1. Chimera, 1.2. Wolfle Dog, will do own document, 1.3. Oliver Buller, inconclusive, 1.4. Emsady, 1.5. Imani.
They would also, unfortunately, end up sourcing their information wrong, which led to a complete third party being dragged into the drama because JK Tech believed them to be Imani.
Dude, some trying to defend KC and all them confused you for the actual Imani and tried using you as evidence that they're innocent. Like some thought you was Imani in that server. Bro, I'm so sorry. How, bro?
In what can be assumed to have been considered a genius strategic move by JK Tech, they would also allegedly go on to make another alt account, this time called Kairoji, and would use this account to pretend to be a fellow anti-care member. Here, they'd allegedly try to sow seeds of doubts and cause infighting by purposely lying about stuff.
One thing I remember, JK Tech's speak stuck in my mind for a while already, and he compared ICE deportations based on accusations only because of the Alien Enemies Act thing with the situation we're in right now. There are a lot of evidence for things, but is there something more substantial than some screenshots to use as evidence? Our arguments are very weak against KC, and all we got is please trust us, which seemed to work for a while, but now things seem to be shifting and people getting away. We can't win this based on trust only if someone like JK Tech is actively non-stop collecting info and proves, I'm starting to question our evidence because of some stuff, for their innocence. He already ruined the Chimera part of the document by making Chimera and his brother talk about this publicly, showing things are not as how we tried to say it is. Later, he gone after Emsady info and also showed that the thing is more of a bad joke situation, and Emsady isn't her friend anymore because was Emsady that caused this exposed against her by giving info. Then he just saw that Imani indeed caused the things, but already got isolated and kicked out of the group. Oliver's partner took our evidence to the ground by simply denying it, which shows our evidence is not substantial at all. The screenshots against Loki are from posts that cannot be found, and I looked for them myself, and even on archival sites. The most substantial was Wolfle's, but he did nothing sexual together with the victim, and the best evidence against him was that drawing of an OC he created with himself. But Wolfle's distanced himself from this person, seeing his error, before even the call out, and got plus 18 partner now. Seriously, where the fuck do we go from here now? This guy is single-handedly cornering us and breaking all our work, and all we can do is complain and block people? Block even who are you on our side? What do we do? There seems to be only 4 of us trying to do something right now. Me, Doctorate Cuddles, Weirdest Cornelius, and Hemaruni. The rest are just leaving or turning against us or turning moderates. I came here because it looked fun to fight against her and would make me feel better about myself, and I feel I got a tiny bit of importance, and I'm worried either I am in the wrong side or we're doing it wrong. I don't want to fucking fight someone omnipresent that is watching every single step I make here and who knows where, and I'm afraid he is planning something else. We have not even an idea of what it could be. This post was very serious, sorry, it's just too much for me to take in, but thanks to you guys who are still here. This is probably the most heartfelt post I ever made.
It would have seemed like no one really bought this and saw right through JK Tech's tricks.
No problem. I'm getting surprised every day on how they don't give a fuck about others. Yes, one even said if she killed herself, it's her own fault for doing so and not the responsibility of who took away all she had and made she suffer worse abuse. Bro, what? Where this is? Who said that? It was on a Discord server for Sparkle Crits. Let me take a screenshot. No screenshots aren't enough. You know how to copy the URL of messages on Discord, right? I don't, cause I barely use Discord. Can you all stop fucking calling me JK Tech? This is seriously a conversation we had yesterday. I will just quit now before it gets bad. I will not do what he told me to. There is no point of any of us keep stepping too far. Thanks for whoever still believed in me, and goodbye.
It is worth pointing out that JK has openly admitted to this ruse.
Yeah, Cairo J is my alt. Oh, I used to infiltrate. Kidney jump scare. What? I infiltrated Antis with it.
Despite allegedly going out of their way to tell the people coming out about their experiences of the Sparklecare community that it is because of them that Kittycorn has made alleged attempts on their life, they have allegedly themselves taken part of the stalking and harassing of the same person Chimera was.
Please stop trying to contact me. I do not want to speak to you. Well, at least you read it. Just please stop spreading lies because they are not groomers. I've been harassed by Chimera multiple fucking times. I have no reason to ever believe he is a good person. Is all I ask. Get the fuck away from me and maybe step outside for once. What Chimera did to you. I have better things to do than deal with you. Well, so stop focusing on this drama. Do better things instead. Sorry if I'm harsh, but just why you still believe in these people? Don't really understand. If I could myself debunk stuff, why you still think the allegation in that doc are true? I never ever cared about people complaining about Nibi's arts unless they're trying to say it's the same thing as abusing someone IRL and stuff. People have their right to like and dislike stuff, but just why are you guys doing this? It's a genuine question. I don't know if y'all want a sense of belonging and purpose. There's better things than that to belong to and do actual good things. I am harsh with you guys, but I don't hate any of you. Everyone makes mistakes.
As should be apparent at this point, there was a lot of fallout when people came to find out who Kittycorn was behind the scenes, and thus a lot of people will go to their social medias, key of which being Tumblr in this case, and talk about how they had been hurt by the ongoings of the community. This is where Jeremy enters the picture. Jeremy would allegedly try and support those affected by everything. The problem was, however, that Jeremy had an alt account called Mars that was hanging out with Kittycorn and the Freaky Care server.
I hope this is obvious, but I do not support KC or any of her actions. This blog is staying up for awareness. I'm no longer making posts about Sparklecare or its AUs, but instead I will be sharing important information about the victims of this comic. If you have been impacted by KC or any of her disgusting friends, I am truly sorry. Nobody deserves to go through horrible things like that. My DMs are always open to anyone needing a friend. But for now, I'm leaving this community. I encourage those who are way too focused on the comic itself to truly listen to victims. Someone's trauma is more important than your rainbow animals. Fuck you, KC, and everyone who supports you. I hope you come to terms with your actions and improve yourself, but at this rate, it seems unlikely.
Upon this being found out, Jeremy would supposedly claim to be a mole, but they have apparently not provided anyone with any information from their mole work, and has instead drawn a ton of incest art instead.
I just woke up and it's like 5 AM and I'm being accused of being a predator and supporting them, and nobody thought to ask me if it was actually true or ask for context. Okay, here's some actual explanation. Some screenshots because character limit sucks. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to. It doesn't excuse anything, but it's context. I would collect info and send it to mods. I was expected to keep up a facade because the pro-ship server was extremely high security. I should have never agreed to it. I should have just kept to myself. It was really stupid, and I've deleted the fake Discord. I truly am sorry for anyone who was potentially hurt by that post. I know I went too far, but I didn't have bad intentions. I just wanted to feel helpful. I do not support the creator or the members of the ProShip server. I shouldn't have listened to what people told me to do, and I'm not ProShip or a supporter of that. I was doing what I thought was helpful, but I now realize it was really stupid of me.
The member Kamohu would allegedly join Jeremy, JK Tech, and other members of the Freaky Care server such as Tay and Poppy in actively hunting down former fans of the series, infiltrate their spaces, and actively attack, harass, and dismiss them.
I made an anti-cat Doom. So far Charlie said it's still too recognizable in my art style.
They would also openly celebrate whenever some of the people they were discrediting were going through tough times.
Please go to the other vent blocks because I quit. Crit down, crit down. I hope this experience makes them realize what kind of people they were associating with.
MCD is another former partner of Kittycorn and was a member of the ZCP working on Sparklecare Hospital. MCD has been called out for predatory behavior, such as them being 18 and sharing a bed with a 14-year-old who they were in love with.
When I was 18, I had my best friend, who was 14, fly across the country to see me, and we shared a bed for 4-ish nights, and I got butterflies just from holding him. But the fact I was so in love with him to begin with was an issue. He was my everything. He meant the world to me, for years, to this day. I don't know if I'll ever love anyone the way I loved him. And if you're gonna appreciate the light pedophilia aspect, at least part of that is because inadvertently I molded him into who he is today, 5 years later. He admitted himself his entire sense of humor, at the very least, is based on mine. The way we both communicate is to match each other. Let me find examples, hang on.
MCD would also try and cover up all his crimes to other members of the ZCP, all in hopes of getting them to make art for them.
Hi, ex-clown here. I can confirm that at least up until I left the ZCP in early January of 2024, Kittycorn was still in contact with Volley. MCD lied to me that he was just a poorly adjusted adult who didn't understand his actions, without ever telling me fully what happened. And I believed them, so I ended up drawing their shit OC a few times. I'm going to look for proof. At least one image of their OC that's leaked in recent Comic Care art Kittycorn made in private. If you do add this to the doc, please either make it extremely clear that I was not told the extent of Ollie's grooming and pedophilia, just that he had poor boundaries with minors and, God help, was never shown any actual evidence or censor my name entirely. I don't want people thinking I was excusing this shit. Again, please note that the reason I was enthusiastic was because MCD repeatedly lied to me about this person. I had no idea they were a fucking pedophile.
They would also openly talk about sexual topics on servers full of minors, as well as even alluding to Kittycorn's interest in incest.
Just allusions to weird shit that gets Kitty off and nobody else. Girlie's kinks are out there, sorry. Bribed her back by promising phone sex/joke. Phone sex in general? Phone sex in general when? Yeah, drawing for the comic made us even closer, and I was like, can I be real? I've always had a fruity little thing for you, and now that we are on equal footing, I can acknowledge that it was real and not just an admiration for my favorite artist thing. And Kitty was like, wow, same. And it fucked me up. Actually, NSFW, please don't unspoil. If you're under 18, I'll be sad. Next day, MCD here. What the fuck do you mean I got drunk and talked about our sex life? I'm killing myself.
When people brought MCD's wrongdoings to Kittycorn's attention, not only would they not care, they would actively downplay it.
It wasn't as simple as grooming, it was complicated. And it wasn't a malicious or reoccurring thing. I don't know if that makes it any better, because it kind of did happen again. Their age maturity gap with Blank was weird as fuck, and they knew it too. I can't be involved in this. Unless someone is willing to tell me what happened without being all wishy-washy and vague about it, I don't feel safe or okay being around this group. The alleged grooming was just a close friendship they had with a minor who people in their old friend group thought was weird. Nothing bad ever actually happened between them. It was just a weird age gap friendship, and the old friend group cut them off because of it. It was weird to be close with someone a lot. I think the person was 14 and they were 18 and they were best friends. Grooming implies they talked about sex and stuff. I don't know what was talked about. I don't know. The fact MCD self admits to it having been grooming doesn't give me any faith. As the perpetrator, they would know their own intentions.
It was only when the initial call-out document came out that Kittycorn saw it fit to cut ties with MCD. It would even seem that it was because of MCD and Kittycorn protecting MCD that the ZCP disbanded December the 18th, 2024. People would however assume it was because of Imani, as Kittycorn would not disclose why the ZCP had disbanded, and when Imani was allegedly being dogpiled for this, despite being close to Kittycorn, Kittycorn would do nothing to stop it, actively using Imani as a scapegoat.
Holy shit, so the ZCP disbanding was because of MCD and not Imani? I feel so bad that the fandom used Imani as a scapegoat for it. And she didn't do anything to protect me.
Despite knowing that the ZCP disbanded due to their actions, MCD would claim that the disbanding of the ZCP was because of infighting, and Kittycorn couldn't handle the responsibility of that.
Is this why the ZCP disbanded? Nah, it disbanded because Kitty isn't emotionally in a position to moderate when there was conflict within the crew, and turns out when you put a bunch of evilly online late teens in a situation, they won't get always along. After years of infighting, she gave up and said her wrist injury was managed well enough to do the work on her own.
If you have paid attention, you will recognize the name MCD as the person who had provided information for the initial call-out document about Kittycorn. Despite Kittycorn apparently doing their hardest to protect MCD and not disclosing their direct involvement with the disbanding of the ZCP, MCD would eventually out some of the wrongdoings Kittycorn had done to the person making the document. It would however seem that they didn't expect the author of the call-out document to make it public.
Kitty has some genuinely call-out worthy shit. When I found out what Kitty was up to, I stopped drawing any pages for a while. They're always asking me for evidence that Kitty's a bad person, and I'm like, babe, I'm not letting you make a call out on my friend. I have given Blank so much picture evidence of Kitty's fuckshit behavior, the stuff Blank is fiending for, and he never shares it, because he knows it would cause more conflict than necessary, and he do not give a fuck. I've told them that if they make a call out post, Kitty will kill herself, but I don't think they care.
They would thus seem to try and blackmail the people making the document, not wanting them to go through with the document, as they worried about their friends, presumed to be Kittycorn's, life.
Hey, so like, what's your problem? Blinks. I don't appreciate you talking shit about me behind my back and proceeding to blackmail my friends. I'm watching a movie with Cinnamon, what? Who did I blackmail? Blank told me everything. So like, what the fuck is your deal? Oh yeah, you pissed me off at the time, shrugs. I don't necessarily stand by that. So you decided to talk shit instead of talking to me about how you felt? Blackmailed though? That's shitty. What does that mean? I'll leak all your mains if you talk about the KC incest shit? Yeah, totally not blackmail. I forgot I said that. Yeah, though, that was serious. I cannot have someone I care about killing herself. We're not like friends, we don't talk anymore, but that's all I could think to say to get anyone to take me seriously about publishing that information. It's mutually assured destruction. Easy for me to not do that, equally easy for you to also not do that. I literally don't give a fuck. I already said I'm not gonna say anything until you give me the thumbs up. I'm more pissed off that you decided to talk shit about me and then hide it from me. I knew I'd forget and forgive within a couple of days anyway, and you tend to get hostile when discussions like that happen, so I didn't think it was worth talking out. Like, it'd be smoother if I just pretended there was no issue until there wasn't. If I talked to you, it'd drag it out. If you talked to me, it would have been fucking over. That's what talking about it does. I just really fucking hurt, Em. If you didn't like me, you could have just said it to my face. It can be hard to talk to you and not feel attacked. I don't dislike you as a person, or else I wouldn't be in shared servers or anything. I just get nervous about your communication methods sometimes. Yes, I'm bad at fucking communication, but that doesn't mean you get to make fun of me behind my back, in front of my friends. That's not a failing of yours or anything, I know it's just how I am, which is why I tried to not make it your problem. If I'd known you'd see it, I would have been more tactful. I thought I was in a place where my word wouldn't be taken seriously. I'm sorry. Yeah, because that sure makes me feel better, MCD. I couldn't interpret it in any other way, and if all you have to say is thanks for twisting my words, and not at the very least I'm sorry it came across that way, but it's not what I meant, then I think my point is made regarding saying to my friends that you're not a very nice person. I'm gonna go back to watching movies. I'm sorry you saw that. That wasn't fair to you. I mean that. I hope you're okay. Don't fucking ignore me, dude. This is serious. I'm a fucking mean person. I thought you already figured this out a while ago. And yes, you were twisting my words because you had literally every opportunity to ask me about it and talk it out. And instead you took that assumption you made and ran. I don't know why this is such a fucking problem for you to understand. And I also don't understand why you're attempting to turn this on me when you were the one talking shit about me to really abusive and disgusting people.
They would, however, come crawling back when their own wrongdoings were coming to light, in the hopes that the person would help them deal with it.
I'm not looking at what Nick posted because I don't want it to fuck me up all day at work today, but will you help me respond when I'm able? I trust you to tell me if something is more excuse than explanation. I've never been good at apologies. Whatever happens after I post the showies, I'm gonna abandon the account. Okay, I found the post. Hi, are you willing to help? I'm not off work yet, but I wanted to ask. I trust your judgment to tell me whether or not something would be unnecessary to add, or come across more of an excuse than an explanation.
One of the original members of the ZCP is Danny, who worked on the Sparklecare Hospital comic back in Volume 1. Danny had a very open fetish for pregnancy and will present this fetish to a lot of forums, some including minors.
Bro, are you still up? Sorry, I just woke up. Oh no! I'm glad she's able to get the help she needed though. Hey, so these are just a few examples of several times she sent me porn in conversations that had nothing to do with NSFW topics, fully aware that I'm a survivor and even having me vent to him about my sexual trauma, because I was too scared to really say anything about it. I never spoke up about how it made me uncomfortable, and I should have, but at the same time it's just gross to intentionally send unsolicited NSFW images and felt the same as getting an unwanted dick pic in my opinion. Plus, I knew telling him to stop wouldn't do much anyways, since others had asked him to or felt uncomfortable with it, and yet he did it anyways. SSL/Aaron here again to share screenshots he sent to a 14-year-old when he was 16. Warning, some of these images depict real people and the others are extremely explicit. There are many more, however. I only included the ones that are clearly non-consensually sent. Help me, so I was looking at tentacles because of course I was, and I saw tentacle porn and oh no! Why is it always rape? Why do people enjoy this? Happy New Year! Yo, does your family do anything on New Year's Day for like good luck? No, sorry, I was sleeping.
It is also theorized that they shared stories and art of their at the time partner that were sexual in nature without their partner's consent.
Oh my, aliens! I didn't like the pregnancy fetish art at all in the first place, but alien babies? That's way over the line, and I did not consent to this sort of porn being drawn. Bro, that's so cool. Her clothes may be too tight to contain her belly, and she may be leaking a little, but you shouldn't stare. I say this with no disrespect meant to sex workers, but the notion here in this art that I'm okay with monetizing my body in such a sexual way makes me highly uncomfortable.
Kittycorn would even allow Danny to showcase their original character on the official Sparklecare's Ask blog, where they would highlight the character's male impregnation and the other character's vor and inflation fetish.
Baby bump. Help, I've broken through to the other side and have started making joke Sparklecare OCs as if that's even possible. My Sparklecare OC has evolved. Dr. Bump.
To their credit, they have since distanced themselves from the Sparklecare community.
I'm aware of the call-out circulating about me and I feel it's time to address it. I've spent the past month off of social media working through the trauma of having my private details outed to everyone. I'm not going to break down every single claim, as I don't want to make you all read another 60-page document. Luckily, what I need to say can be put into one post. I fully admit that I haven't always been a great friend, and I'm very sorry for that. I think we all have been guilty of that on some occasions. Social interactions hasn't always been easy for me, as I'm mentally ill and autistic. I've been seeking counseling to work on this since 2015. I've been improving every day, especially now. I will not be contacting any authors of the call-out post, and I hope they will do me the same courtesy. As for any future friends, If I ever do anything that hurts you when we are interacting, please opt to tell me in the moment rather than screenshotting and compiling receipts on me. Note how almost all of the screenshots in the call-out post, even the ones from years ago, are timestamped as today. Take that as you will. Unfortunately, they have used my shortcomings as a friend to boost the credibility of their more heinous claims. Despite the assertion that the document wasn't intended to harass me, it has been meticulously sent to every single person I know, along with every mutual across my several social media platforms. I have been insulted and harassed to the point of locking my account and turning off comments. All this to say, this past month has been extremely hard for me, and I'm actively working to heal from this and improve as a person. Again, if I ever do anything harmful without knowing, please do not hesitate to let me know. The document states that they hope I will improve as a person and get help, which I am. Hopefully, this means they can feel at peace and move on. I would love to move forward too.
Pyro is yet another of the members of the ZCP that worked on Volume 1 and 2 of Sparklecare Hospital. They were rather disliked by the other members of the ZCP due to their very open flaunting of their fetishes, which include stuff like war.
I feel like one of the main reasons I remember being uncomfortable with Pyro was that their fetishes were very obvious publicly, but I'm not 100% sure. Does anyone remember what they were so I can try to jog my memory? So much. Yes, his fetish account was public and I think easily accessible on his main blog. I have been aware that there have been more than once cases of groomers being in the ZCP. However, to the public's knowledge, they have been removed and Casey cut them off. Knowing that Casey lied makes me wonder if Kit is very much aware of who she's protecting.
It was supposedly easy to dig up this art relating to Pyro's fetishes, and members of the ZCP were worried how easy it was to trace back to the group.
Even before the grooming info was readily available, it was extremely easy to find some distinctly gross art by him just by finding his DA. The ZCP did not give a fuck for background checks.
Pyro also allegedly would draw poorly cropped penis war porn and post it to servers filled with minors.
Don't forget the time Pyro drew cock war and poorly cropped it and posted in his vor and general fetish server, which was full of minors, and then egged people on to PM him so they can see the full cock war art drawn when he was 17. Or how he admitted to my close friend he forgot about her after promising to talk to her and said she was forgettable, though knowing she has attachment issues and is afraid of being ignored and forgotten. He also dated an 11-year-old when he was 16-17 and allowed adults 18 to 20 be gross and sexualized minors in his server. Like one of his friends who's notorious for defending people who turn out scummy or gross to people in general, hell, he sexualized me and my boyfriend's relationship, harassed my friend in a call, she was 14/15 at the time, asking her what kinds of sexual war she's into, though she asked him multiple times to stop. She's ace and sex repulsed. He's gross and has a gross friend group. Also, his Shane Dawson persona wasn't just a persona but a kinsona, meaning he kinned Shane Dawson. He kinned a whole ass real person and then also made an identical furry character of them and drew fetish out of them. And he made multiple remarks of how vor, mors and stuff were his fetish/sexual for him in his vor Discord, in the new and old as the OG was deleted over drama. I would have gotten screenshots, but I impulsively left after finding out he was a freak. He has a mod who drew super uncomfortable realistic vor art and would post cropped NSFW too and would egg people on to see it as well and then got pissed at a minor when they misunderstood her. Plus, she was genuinely super fucking rude and gross all the time, and he only got rid of her after she was beyond rude to someone who was venting, and then he deleted the server after the incident and made a new one.
Not only that, but they've also allegedly dated an 11-year-old when they were around the age of 16 or 17. Pyro would supposedly come out with a tweet longer about this, but due to the tweet longer site becoming defunct, the statement has been lost to time. However, one can still read the supposed victim's response to this, where they lambast Pyro for victim blaming them.
Oh yeah, I have to respond to this again because my account got sussed. Literally all I can say is this entire thing is just you victim blaming me and blatantly lying in some areas. Suck my dick, you fucking creep. I'm going on a potentially temp hiatus, but I feel like this needs to be said. I don't feel like debunking it point by point again, but you claiming you were in too deep or whatever when you learned I was 11 completely contradicts what actually happened. When you said it was okay and you usually get along better with younger kids, citing your brother as an example, and the fucking victim blaming where you say shit like you had so many chances to leave is fucking disgusting. Holy shit, dude. And the never telling anyone about the bad things you did thing is false too. I always tell people, I'm aware I wasn't a good person back then, but oh my god, get it through your thick fucking skull that just because I did shitty things doesn't undermine the fact you fucking exploited my admiration of you and groomed me when I was 11. I'm literally in fucking therapy because of the nasty shit you did and the way I was conditioned to think under you and Mokka's grooming. Mokka's someone else though, he's not relevant to this. And it's taken me years to come to terms with the fact that what you did to me wasn't my fucking fault. You are a disgusting, deplorable slime of a person who didn't take any accountability in this. You instead victim blamed me, tried to make me out as a jealous stalker when I'm a victim who's angry you got away with what you did and went off topic about how traumatized you are in order to get pity points. Fucking rotten hell, you exploitative scumbag. I'm assuming you still check this blog, you little weirdo. You're not getting this URL from me, especially not after your response, which was just you victim blaming me and trying to excuse your actions. Why didn't you leave? Why did you keep trying to contact me? Relationships, especially one where you felt like the other person was the one who truly understood you, are difficult to get out of. The whole thing literally reads like, yes, I know I deeply scarred an 11-year-old, but it's their fault. Sorry to those I hurt, but also not sorry because I didn't do the thing you're accusing me of. You're just a jealous, lying stalker. It's disgusting. It's cowardly. If anything, it just proves you have zero remorse for your actions. The way you tried to frame me as an evil mastermind when I was literally just a mentally unstable child is fucking rotten. It's so fucking rotten, Pyro. I wasn't even a teenager yet. You were 15. There's no way you weren't getting sexual gratification from our roleplays. It was all explicit kink stuff, and you know that. There's so much more I could say about you, Pyro. There's so much more I could fucking debunk about your shitty rebuttal. But for now, I'll leave it at this, only until I get confirmation you still look at his account.
While going through these individuals and their actions may seem like it's simply an act of kink shaming, it is done with the explicit purpose of portraying how openly this sexual paraphilia was celebrated in spaces that everyone knew featured a large portion of minors. Had they chosen to discuss these paraphilia in forums exclusively for adults, there would not be a problem. But they chose to put it in spaces where children would see it and even explicitly directly send it to them. While this in and of itself is bad enough, it also highlights how many individuals surrounding the space were a supposedly legit threat to children. Yet despite these individuals openly admitting to these crimes, fetishes and interests, Kittycorn would supposedly do nothing, or at the very least the very bare minimum, to protect their audience from these individuals and instead protect them. Some of these individuals would supposedly claim they were not a danger to children, but would apparently still discuss and share art and discussions amongst minors that simply didn't belong in those spaces. Some people have been left out of this list of individuals that Kittycorn surrounded themselves with in the interest of not diluting the point. But if you're interested, the document that features a more in-depth archive of the people Kittycorn surrounded themselves with will be in the description of the video. Kittycorn has made multiple statements in a short while since the release of the initial document on March the 10th. The first response was released on the same day as the document, probably aided by the fact that MCD would end up getting cold feet when it came to supplying the original document with information, and thus explained to Kittycorn that the document was coming.
I have some things to address. Please read in full before jumping to conclusions. Firstly, I disabled comments and replies because I already received one hate comment on the site and I knew that many more would follow. I want everyone to try and put themselves in my shoes here. Obviously, everyone is very angry with me right now. I don't think I want to be bombarded with that. Secondly, I'm making this 100% clear and do not ignore this or brush it off. I'm a victim of incest. I was sexually and emotionally abused by a sibling when I was 13 years old. I had not gone to therapy to process this trauma until November 2024 for complicated reasons. My art is, and has always been, the way I cope with my trauma and experiences. I don't care if you disagree with my methods of coping, but acting as if I forced this upon my readers is just a straight up lie considering it was always intended to be private. All of this is a violation of my privacy. I never meant for anyone to be exposed to this who didn't explicitly tell me they were comfortable hearing it. This was never going to be in the public comic. I had that notice on the content warning master list, and it was genuine. A lot of the information shown in the post isn't even entirely accurate, and the lack of context about my trauma makes it clear that this call-out wasn't made for any reason except to slander me. This doesn't add anything to anyone's life except divulge private information that nobody was supposed to have in the first place. I'm not a monster. I'm standing my ground on that. These are characters I made for myself to process my own experiences in the best way I knew how. You don't have to agree with it, but it's an objective fact that nothing I've done with my characters is actually harmful. I did not get raped by my family as a child to experience this treatment from people who claim to support me and my recovery journey through my art.
While no one deserves to have the effects of their personal trauma minimized or ignored, it should be noted that this does not give one a free pass to enact different or similar trauma onto others. One could be persuaded to think, when reading this statement, that Kittycorn was attempting to portray himself as the one true victim in all of this, and ask people to focus primarily on the trauma they had gone through, not the one they had supposedly facilitated for others. They would continue with another post saying,
"One last thing, it's not a fetish comic, it's a trauma coping comic. That's never been a lie, and diluting my healing journey into a fetish thing is just incredibly disrespectful to me. And the comic is 18 plus and was made that way to stop minors from reading it. It literally is not my fault that people don't listen to a boundary I set myself."
When saying that the comic was 18 plus, it should be stated that this was only a change added a year prior and had before that for multiple years been presented as a comic that people of any age could read. They should just be aware that the comic was going to deal with heavy themes. In fact, in Kittycorn's own words, the comic's reboot was supposedly made in part so it could cater more to a younger audience. They would further post,
"Thank you to people who are being understanding, and I'm deeply sorry to anyone who was made uncomfortable by this situation. I never wanted this to happen for so many reasons. Not everyone responds to trauma in the same way, and I understand that. But please do not villainize me for going about it my way, even if you don't understand. Reiterating one last time, none of this was ever going to be in the public comic. Comic-Care is more than just a vessel for these comforts. It's a genuine story that I wanted to share with people, and my comic is not a fetish comic."
These statements have been met with a lot of skepticism, as people have pondered, if Kittycorn was indeed using the comic solely for the coping of their trauma, why hide the incestual aspect in the first place? If it was truly meant for Kittycorn's benefit, and not to get fans, livelihood, and adoration, why purposely kneecap the Comic-Care story when incest was the main foundation of the entire comic? It also fails to account for all the problematic people that they were surrounding themselves with, and as an extension, was letting them walk freely within the community of vulnerable children. In fact, perhaps knowing how inexcusable having these individuals in an environment filled with minors was, Kittycorn would not once mention any of the problematic individuals they facilitated. Kittycorn would proceed to not take any accountability and instead try and depict himself as a sole victim in all of this.
"Don't ever make a comic about your trauma. It's not worth it. Keep your characters private. Don't become a creator. You don't want this. Keep your OCs close and draw for yourself, but don't put yourself out there. Just do what makes you happy for you. And don't ever let anyone take them from you."
It would seem like things were not going the way Kittycorn was hoping for, so instead they would confess partially to them including incest in their comic, while trying to use the good they had done as a way to pardon the wrongs they had done. Once more, it is important to note that if Kittycorn indeed had an interest in fictional incest, then that is entirely their prerogative, and not a problem in the grand scheme of things. The issue was them featuring it so prominently in their works they knew minors consumed, as well as trying to make minors take part in the same fascination of the topic.
Why does everyone have to keep beating me when I'm already down? Is none of this enough? Is privately drawing my OCs that are siblings romantic or intimate with each other seriously warranting the horrific treatment I'm receiving right now? Does nobody on this fucking planet have a shred of empathy for me and my circumstances? I went so far out of my way to protect my readers via things like the content warning system. I added all these accessibility features to the site to make reading easier for everyone. It feels like nothing positive I did even matters just because the entire world is convinced I'm a sick monster because of drawings made in private, shared with consenting adults. I'm sorry, MCD. I never meant to hurt you with my comforts. I just wanted to share the thing I loved most with you because you were so important to me. I'm sorry for the harm I caused you by sharing my comforts with you. And I'm sorry to everyone who lost a comfort comic because of this. There is literally nothing I can say that will make anything better at this point, because the entire world is determined to destroy my life as much as possible and drive me to suicide.
It should be noted at this point that MCD is the only person called out by name, and while Kittycorn would seem remorseful and apologizing to MCD in public, behind the scenes they would lambaste MCD for having outed them.
If my life is ruined, it's your fault. Know this. You'll be okay. You've been through worse. You can get through this too. Why did you do this to me? Tell me, to my face, how much I've wronged you to deserve this. Don't fucking ignore me right now. I don't think asking that will help you. Do you genuinely believe you're justified in doing this to me? Not at all. That's why I tried so hard to undo it. That's why I spent the last 4 months begging them to not do this. Well, whatever happens to me is your fault. Period.
Kittycorn would continue.
I'm just sorry. In my brain I can't fathom why something that helped me so much and brought me so comfort makes me deserving of this unbelievably gargantuan amount of hatred and violations of privacy and spoiling my comic. But maybe I'm wrong. The entire fucking world has turned against me at this point in the span of 2 days just because a bunch of private information about me was shared. I keep thinking it can't get worse, and it always does. It really doesn't get better, no matter how much I wanted to believe it could.
Once more, it would seem like Kittycorn was trying to frame what was happening as them being the victim, once more emphasizing that private information about them was shared. Next, they would go through some of the points levied against them in a more point-by-point manner.
1. The insects thing was not deliberate. The #1 insect fan thing was not deliberate. The drawing of Allie and Norma had nothing to do with the incest thing. My partner pointed it out, and I said it wasn't deliberate, and it just turned into a joke we made. Norma has always been interested in bugs, even before my comfort stuff was a thing. It simply became an inside joke. 2. I did not sneak incest into public content. I'm going to divulge some truths about my character lore to prove this is true. The comfort stuff is an AU I refer to as secret canon. There are 4 different versions of the Comic-Care story. There is main comic, the actual events, Comic-Care, the happy ending AU, secret canon, which is main comic with my comfort stuff, and Comics Care, which is secret canon with the children of characters who die in main comic, basically a blend of the other 3. Nothing in the main comic or Comic-Care ever had anything to do with incest. They are for all intents and purposes AUs. This is 100% true, and anyone who is sharing my private information cannot deny this as being true because they know I refer to the incest stuff as secret canon.
Kittycorn would repeatedly mention how the secret canon was not related to the main story at all, but we already know this isn't true, as Kittycorn himself has admitted to the fact that Comic-Care was just a kneecap version of secret canon, and multiple things that came as a result of the incest within the secret canon would appear in Comic-Care. Kittycorn would go on to try and defend the incestual relationship between the characters, Sly and Eve, but seeing this is something we haven't brought up, we won't be diving into it. If you are interested in reading it, the document with the response in full can be found in the description. Kittycorn would go on to finish their first response with the following.
The least I can do is stand up for my one biggest comfort because I refuse to let them be misrepresented. They are too important to me to let hundreds of strangers rip to shreds just because I'm a victim who copes in a way you don't agree with. Nobody can ruin them for me. Nobody can take them away from me. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point in time. For a bit, I decided the comic was being cancelled and I'm taking my animals back. That does not mean incest, by the way, that means my OCs in general. Because nobody else could be kind to them. And I didn't see a point in continuing when everything is public anyways. It's not like I can just completely rewrite everything now that the whole story plot is public because I don't want to do that. I have some thoughts about my next steps, but nothing is certain right now. Just a lot of thinking to be done. I'm not killing myself. I probably would have if this happened a year ago, but I'm stronger than I used to be. There's also still a possibility I will end up cancelling everything after all. I don't know. I just need time to recover from this. If you still believe in me and don't hate me, thank you. Your kindness is heard and felt and very appreciated. Literally anything positive means everything to me right now. Sly loves E forever.
With the last sentence highlighting their unapologetic stance in the incestual relationship between the two characters, this marked the end of a long series of posts on Kittycorn's Tumblr. These posts would however end up getting deleted 16 days later and replaced with a link to an animated music video in what would appear to be an attempt to sweep the whole thing under the rug. The second response came a month later, at the beginning of May. At this point, the story had taken on a life of its own, and memes and archives were made of the entire situation, as well as multiple victims coming out with their experiences concerning Kittycorn. Some of these included former members of the ZCP and even former relationship partners. Because of this spread of information, people were now less inclined to believe the explanation that it was all done for Kittycorn to cope, and thus their response came across as far more hostile.
You can share my private personal art, spoil my comic, leak my NSFW all you want, and do everything in your power to fuck me over and ruin my life with stuff I actually did draw. I'm not going to deny anything I've drawn. You can denounce me and say you don't support it, but don't fucking lie to save yourself just because you got implicated for being involved. I didn't fucking groom anyone. I didn't force anything on anyone. I wasn't going to do this. I took these screenshots earlier, but I decided against posting them because I didn't want to be like you guys. I didn't want to stoop to your level, but reclaiming Eve is too far and I'm not going to let you get away with lying anymore if you're going to do this to my fucking self-insert who I used to cope with my worst trauma. Chaos and Imani, Google Drive. You can't reclaim the OCs someone made to cope with their essay. Nothing I ever did justifies the things you people are doing to me. Sly and Eve are my coping mechanism against getting raped at 13. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me that people just gloss over that fact. It's mind-boggling that someone told me to my face that my trauma is irrelevant. And it's mind-boggling that someone I used to love would violate me in such horrible ways, but this is something I will not accept. Even if it is true that you felt uncomfortable, going through all of our DMs, I could not find a single instance in which you expressed that to my face, except for the instance of the boundary about parent/kidships, which I respected. My OCs are not yours. They don't belong to anyone else. I'm going to keep drawing the things that makes me happy. I wasn't the one who made the fucking document. I didn't tell everybody about this. Making the ask block is something I did for myself because I deserve to do things that makes me happy after all the harassment and violations of privacy. All of this was private to protect people, as you can see in the screenshots. I never had intentions of sharing it. The only reason I'm doing it now is because I just deserve to do what makes me happy. That's all. I don't care what you think anymore, but these people are fucking liars who just can't handle the fact they were implicated. They lied to stay out of hot water. I wasn't going to acknowledge the allegations because I didn't want to give people a response. I don't owe anybody fucking anything after what's been done to me.
Unsurprisingly, the community didn't take too well to this response, which probably played a role in why this too was promptly deleted later. They would however claim they did so because making the post made no difference, which could make one inclined to ask why one would delete it then.
I deleted the post, not out of cowardice, but because I realized posting them didn't make a difference. I don't think anything I say at this point to defend or stick up for myself will change anything. All I was trying to do was prove my innocence because people genuinely believed I was a predator. I'm not going to acknowledge the situation anymore.
People were confused as to what Kittycorn was going for, as they could not understand that the straw that broke the camel's back was someone supposedly trying to take their fictional character away from them. Seeing as the post was deleted, the contents the link that they shared in the post has also been lost to time, but it would seem like the post actively showed Kittycorn grooming and manipulating Imani and Chaos, if the responses to the post are anything to go by.
Breaking this down specifically, this is you quite literally admitting discomfort. There's some in the first paragraph, but then you get to, as of right now, my mindset has kind of shifted on this stuff. This is you stating a change in your behavior because of her in the current mindset you're experiencing. Moving on, you state you're not uncomfortable with other people making bad stuff, and then express the fact you still think it shouldn't be made public, plus the fact some things still raise your eyebrow. This is clear and obvious fawning. Lastly, that whole last bit, I spent a while learning to be okay with it because missing out on something for a dumb reason like that would be stupid. This is literally you admitting she's grooming you. Maybe not in those exact words, but you're literally admitting you're making yourself feel okay with it because you don't want to miss out on something, her friendship. Sorry for that paragraph, I wanted to break down exactly what is pointing to what in this. My main comments are this so far. Seriously? People reclaiming your OCs was the final straw for you? Not the revealed to be tight-knit with predators part? Nice story about your therapist, /sarcasm. Did they tell you to share it? To post it, however? The reason no one told you anything otherwise about not liking what you were doing is because they were scared of you and what you could have done. I've been many times in positions where I just nod my head because I'm scared of the other person being aggressive or crashing out. Let's pretend you didn't guilt trip the people you said directly, but there had to be proof of you reacting badly to people saying no to you in other ways, causing them to be scared. Think about it. Think. Genuinely cannot imagine a self-report worse than that. It's kinda crazy. Do you have any more screens of you actively grooming the people you're claiming you never groomed? Or do you think 56 pictures of it is enough?
About 4 days later, on the 14th of May, Kittycorn would post a third, and as of writing this, last response. This time, the post would come through the Freaky Care Ask blog. Here, they would write,
Okay, so, let's talk about this. As I said in my first feelings post at the beginning when I first started posting on this blog, this was absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever done as an artist and just my life in general. And definitely an insane, maybe even batshit move to make on my part. Is making something about myself which has been so heavily guarded fully exposed to the world. It's not like it's the first time a lot of you are seeing things like this comic that I made, side-eye, but anyway. I don't even actually know the complete overall audience reaction to this AU's existence because I don't look at the tags ever, but I'm vaguely aware, and can assume based on everything else, that people are not happy about this. This blog isn't meant to be an attempt to make people see the value in what this is for me, because I know a lot of people don't care what I do, say, or feel at all, and aren't willing to try and understand what I'm going through right now. The concept for this ending scene was not new lore, nor is Ellie's opinion on it a new thing. However, my new trauma from this situation has recontextualized a lot of my own writing regarding my coping mechanism, and I guess I'm clinging to it now more than I ever have before. My art is, and has always been, a tool I use to navigate my own experiences. The plot of the main comic is a SA allegory based on the fact my family did not believe I was being abused when I was 13. The social worker plot from V3 was also based on an event related to the abuse. V2 was based on a bad coping mechanism I engaged with while trying to cope with my lack of therapy and support from my family after the abuse. I don't think people have ever fully understood the deeply personal nature of my comic, and that's basically everything you ever see me create stems from that specific experience. This genuinely isn't any different than the things you've already seen. It's just how I process shit. And sexualizing it doesn't make it a fetish, but I'm done arguing with people about that. Why make this comic if it is supposed to be private? I'll be totally honest. At this point, I just want to do stuff that makes me happy, because hiding it was incredibly painful, and I was constantly terrified of this exact thing, except it went worse than I ever could have imagined, and the world finding out was not my choice or something I even really truly wanted in the first place. So, I just want to make things that makes me happy. This stuff makes me happy. All I want to do after everything I've been through is just do things that make me happy. And that includes drawing this comic. If you hate reading, keep in mind that you're just hurting yourself by continuing to look at something that upsets you. And if you're one of the people who understands and still cares, please know I really appreciate it. Your kindness is felt. And if you're someone neutral who's just morbidly curious to see what I'm doing with this weird little comic, well, strap in, I guess, because I have a lot of things in store. Sly loves Eve forever. Athlai DNI. Do not interact if you're Ellie Cornelius.
This post too would seemingly rub the audience the wrong way, and it would seem like Kittycorn was in a situation they simply couldn't win. It would seem people were not too happy about the comic they had found solace and meaning with, that they felt had spoken to them and their struggles they were going through, either be it their identity or their own troubles going through the American healthcare system, was in fact never supposed to help them, only Kittycorn. They would also note that the end of the post would feature a banner saying Athlai DNI, do not interact if you are Ellie Cornelius. As someone who hasn't read the comic, this might not strike a chord with you. But for the people in the know, this became yet another thing where Kittycorn was supposedly hiding things in plain sight. Allegedly in the secret canon, the character Athlai is depicted as a kindred folk, one who is prejudiced against kindreds. It should be stated that in the comics universe, apparently a kindred is an individual who is attracted to family members in a way that is typically sexual or at the very least non-platonic.
World building related. What is kindred? Kindred means attraction to one's family in some way or another. The opposite of kindred is variant, which means genetically variant or non-attraction to family. While the experiences of kindred can be read as a queer allegory, sometimes deliberately, I would like to make it clear that 1. I'm not actually saying it's the same thing, and 2. I'm a queer person and my way of expressing my experiences being queer in my art is up to me. It's not like I'm not queer and making this story, I very much am. Additionally, kindred is more of an allegory for my experience with trauma coping, though ultimately it's a drawing, calm down. Nobody in real life is actually gonna start committing incest because of some random traumatized person on the internet's rainbow furry webcomic.
This would effectively mean that the banner said that if you weren't keen on the concept of incest, then you should not interact with the post. As of writing this, there have been no new events concerning Kittycorn and Sparklecare Hospital. The situation is still going on, as it is a rather recent event. It would appear that Kittycorn's community at large has fallen out of love with the creator, and more people are coming out, claiming everything from stolen character designs to an inability to follow up on Patreon rewards. While it would appear that Kittycorn has absolutely done a lot of wrong, it would seem, when compared to instances like Glitched Puppet from Floraverse, that people are more empathetic about Kittycorn and wants them to get help. It would seem that due to the circles they have surrounded themselves with, being a circle consisting mainly of alleged sexual deviants and predators, they have let the topic of incest take over their life, spending all day, every day, in their room behind closed doors, only getting food brought to them by their dad.
I'm in my room 24/7, I have my door closed constantly, and I rarely ever leave, and my dad brings me my food.
One could be inclined to believe they are also keeping themselves locked away in their room as they fear the retaliation of their abusive brother, who would find out about Kittycorn's incest art when they got called out.
It's mortifying. My entire family has seen the call out and knows everything, including the brother that I'm coping from being abused by.
It would appear that the community that has stuck with them only wants them to make fetish fuel art, only ever encouraging them to pause when the wrist starts to hurt.
Last one for tonight because my wrist is dead. 209 panels in and you're finally slowing down. You're so insane. Alright, remember to take care of your wrist.
After the backlash, they seem to feel physically ill whenever they have to post something, but they are once again encouraged to just power through it.
About to post the next update, shaking really bad. You got this, Eve. Time to try to not throw up from stress.
Kittycorn seems to have gotten so traumatized by what has happened that they can't even bear for their Discord to talk about what has happened, and is considering everyone who has criticism as evil people.
Sorry, I have to mute this channel. Help. I can't handle crit/anti-talk. Can you remove my ability to see this channel, please? If I need to know anything, just say it in the staff chat. Good idea. Wait. I can't be continuously exposed to the crit/anti stuff. It's such a stressor. Can you avoid mentioning them? Jump scare. Yes, sorry. Thank you.
It is to the point where entire channels of the Discord has been made so that Kittycorn can't access them, as they are meant to discuss the people criticizing Kittycorn and Sparklecare Hospital. And if they were to read any of the criticism, they would suffer a panic attack. Meanwhile, Kittycorn has fully started identifying as the fictional character Eve, to the point where people are referring to them as Eve, and is even getting emotionally overwhelmed by the very pages they draw, in which Eve and Sly hang out together.
Please, no bringing up or mentions of Tumblr. If you must bring it up, do so in Antis and Crits Suck, as Eve cannot see this channel. You fucking go, Sly, tell her. I'm crying again. What's wrong, Fade? Imagine how much I'm crying, bro. Sly loves Eve forever. You are so brave for telling the story, Eve. I can't express that. Sly loves Eve forever.
Kittycorn has made this comic, and as an extension incest, the entirety of their identity, brandishing it every chance they get now.
I told someone once that shipping incest was my entire identity, half as a joke, and they said, maybe you should fix that. Fuck you, now it's my entire personality too. It's my identity, my sexuality, my gender, and personality. Don't ever let a soul in the world tell you that Sly loves me forever. About me. Sly loves Eve forever. Do not bring up the drama to me, ever. Little sister gender. Little sister gender. Flag for being little sister. Kin divergent. Attraction to found family.
So, what are we left with? In my personal opinion, Kittycorn is a victim of not just horrible sexual assault by their brother, but also neglect from both their family and the American health system. Facing so much neglect, they took it upon themselves to deal with the trauma they suffered, and while this may have worked at first, it has taken on a life of its own. The medicine that used to give them comfort has become a poison that is now ruining their life. I personally feel this started out as being a tool for Kittycorn to deal with their past experiences, but due to becoming as popular as it did, it invited dangerous people into Kittycorn's community. Through them and Kittycorn's own instability, this coping mechanism twisted into something else and caused Kittycorn to fully escape into the world of fantasy, and through that forgetting the very real consequences of whom they surrounded themselves with and what and how they were putting things out in the world. As seems to be a reoccurring theme when I do these documentaries, Kittycorn is a victim of horrible circumstances and chose to escape into the world of art and writing, which twisted their pain into something darker. Kittycorn is 100% a victim, but they are not by any means without fault. When becoming a creator, one has a responsibility to keep the space one creates safe and ensure the safety and comfort of those within it. And despite multiple people speaking out about what Kittycorn was doing was wrong, I think they had gotten somewhat of an ego because of their popularity and trusted their own judgment more than that of their peers. This facilitated a space where people were brought into close contact with dangerous individuals who could prey on them, potentially making them the same kind of victims as Kittycorn is. And they didn't care. I think, at some point, Kittycorn found themselves surrounded by people who were fine with their interest in incest, but were so for completely different reasons. And knowing how hard people like that were to find, they'd up to endanger others just to keep these people who supported them around. This is a story with no winners, but a lot of loss and a lot of pain. I hope Kittycorn can find the help they so obviously need, and I hope they do not get another community, as it is both not healthy for them, and it is also not something I think they can handle. Sparklecare Hospital and Kittycorn is a horrific story that just goes to show that sometimes the worst horrors hide in plain sight.